Look, this isn't just about protests here in Los Angeles. When Donald Trump sought blanket authority to commandeer the National Guard, he made that order apply to every state in this nation. This is about all of us. This is about you. California may be first, but it clearly will not end here. Other states are next. Democracy is next.
You just heard a portion of Governor Newsom's Democracy at a Crossroads speech from last night. He condemned President Trump's deployment of the Marines and National Guard to the streets of Los Angeles this week amid protests over immigration raids. KPBS's Public Matters reporter Amitha Sharma says the decision is likely a pivotal moment in American democracy. She joins me now. So, Amitha, welcome. What is the situation on the streets of downtown LA right now?
Well, John, protests have calmed, but a National Guard commander told the Associated Press this afternoon he expects the situation will escalate. Nearly 400 people have been arrested so far. That figure includes 330 undocumented migrants. The rest were picked up for alleged assault and obstruction, and one person for the attempted murder of a police officer. A curfew instituted last night will continue tonight. The protests started over the weekend after federal immigration agents raided workplaces in the LA area. Governor Newsom says agents in an unmarked van in a Home Depot parking lot Saturday began grabbing people indiscriminately. In response, protesters came out. There was unrest. But Newsom said yesterday law enforcement had the situation under control. Then Saturday evening, President Trump ordered 2,000 National Guard troops to LA without Governor Newsom's consent.
That's when the downward spiral began. He doubled down on his dangerous National Guard deployment by fanning the flames even harder. And the president, he did it on purpose.
Newsom said things were winding down when the president federalized another 2,000 National Guard troops. And Monday, he mobilized 700 Marines to the streets of L.A., again, without the governor's approval. San Diego Democratic Congressman Mike Levin called the move presidential overreach with a goal.
Fear and intimidation. I think it's showing power through the use of our military. We're being shown the use of power as never before in recent American history. Our military, our Marines, our sailors, our soldiers, they don't deserve this kind of garbage. And putting them on the streets of major American cities as political props, which is effectively what is being done, is dangerous and it's wrong.
Levin says key administration officials are dodgy on the legal basis for sending in the Marines. He says the Marines are subject to what is called posse comitatus, meaning they cannot do any civilian law enforcement. Right now, the U.S. Northern Command is saying the Marines will join National Guard troops to protect ICE agents.
I've asked our military leaders, I've asked our liaison at the Navy, I've asked Secretary Hegseth, they all have punted.
But Governor Newsom and California Attorney General Rob Bonta argue both the deployment of the National Guard and Marines are illegal, and they're suing the federal government. They said the military troops create imminent harm to state sovereignty and escalate instead of diffusing civil unrest. They asked a federal judge this week to immediately block Trump's deployment. The judge refused. Former San Diego U.S. Attorney Carol Lam says while it is relatively unprecedented to bypass a governor and send in the National Guard, consent is not required. She says California's chances in prevailing in its lawsuit are a toss-up. She added President Trump's exaggerated descriptions of the threat posed by the L.A. protests does not help the state's case.
The words that are being used, insurrection, incursion, invasion, are being used to fit within federal statutes that exist. So they're trying to make the case with these sort of conclusory terms.
UC San Diego political scientist Thad Kauser framed the ICE raids, the protests, and Trump's response as part of a long-running feud between the president and California. But Kauser says Trump's statement this week that Governor Newsom should be arrested for the crime of running for office if carried out, is a slide toward authoritarianism.
Anytime you have a president who has just activated the National Guard above and beyond a governor's wishes, who has called up the Marines to move into a situation with as yet an unspecified mission, and then talks about arresting a governor for nothing more than running for office. That moves us into just a territory that we have not seen.
And John, I don't want to close without mentioning what Congressman Levin told me during my conversation yesterday with him. He firmly believes that the ICE raids in Los Angeles were triggered by Trump aide Stephen Miller's demand that ICE agents detain at least 3,000 undocumented migrants a day. And he says that is a very dangerous situation because once you start instituting quotas, law enforcement will reach further and further, and that is when the real injustices occur.
Thanks so much, Amitha. Appreciate it.